rhymes to the homies lost, to the ones fighting demons in silence, to the kings and queens that forgot their crown. We four brothers coming straight from mud, hitting the web not for clout but for purse bills. Freedom Night brothers, speaking truth to the mic, shining through the struggle, bringing dark to the light. Block to your soul, let the message ignite. Podcast for the people, every word take flight. Gritty like the grind, hell first we strive. Social heat in the streets, trying to keep hope alive. 4 mics, 1 mission, make the people revive. It's the night time, tune in, feel the vibe. We 4 deep like corners on the block, mics hot in the lab, cooking truth non-stop, no gimmicks. This ain't clickbait chatter, this heartbeat, struggling soul, blacker than batter. Got fam trying to heal, broke bills on the table. Talk health, mental wealth, if we able, we enable. From the hood to the web, we built this escape. Tired of seeing kings trapped in a lowercase fake. Click clack on the keys, we ain't just pie, we preach it. Street slang, health hacks, real talk preaching. See the system rigged, trying to cage our minds, but we cracking the code like it's Columbine. I'm the brother with the blueprint, knowledge in my stash. Turn trauma to armor, pain into cash. 1 mic, 4 voices, no filters, no mask. We ain't just streaming, we building that path. Freedom Night brothers, speaking truth to the mic, shining through the struggle, bringing dark to the light. Block to your soul, let the message ignite. Podcast for the people, every word take flight. Gritty like the grind, health first we strive. Social heat in the streets, trying to keep hope alive. 4 mics, 1 mission, make the people revive. It's the nighttime, tune in, feel the vibe.
Oh yeah, 4 mics, 1 mission. Nighttime, nighttime.
I seen young blood.
What's going on?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
All right, how you doing, Dave? How you doing, Hard?
Feeling good.
Beautiful.
Good to see you, brothers. Hey, man, Hard, we got another host with us tonight, Mr. David Stansbury. We want to take the time to welcome to the show as a host now, man. David will be joining us occasionally as host, and we thank you, brother, for stepping up, man, and taking on the role.
My pleasure and my honor, man.
He ain't need no introduction. You know that brother need.
You might put that too, my brother. Hey, so David, listen, man. I hear you've been dabbling in some intermittent fasting. Want to tell Arden and I just a quick little blurb about what's going on with you, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, the winter took a little toll on me. So,
I hear you.
So, you know, me and my partner in crime, Kevin Smith, man, we're doing a little intermittent fasting. We're jumping right in. We jump right in at 14 hours. You know.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. Right in. And
What made you jump in like that? What I mean, was it
the Night Brothers show? What else? You know. You know.
Oh, good, brother. Oh, good, man. But, you know, like I said, with that, consistency really counts, man. So just as long as you guys stay consistent, you know, we're going to be there and be a support system for you. Want to welcome my baby to the show, Miss Mimi Lee. How you doing, Mimi? Want to welcome Miss Margaret Nick and others as you come on the air. Please say hello, Miss Cheryl Queen. Welcome to the Queen. Welcome to the show. David, also, man, I understand. You just real quick, man, give us a quick little blurb about what you and Kevin, speaking of Kevin, what you guys are doing with For the Culture, man. This is a new project. Just a quick little blurb about it, because we're going to have a last interview later.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, For the Culture, we're a bona fide nonprofit organization, and our goal is to celebrate in all Black history, education, and culture. So exactly what we're talking about tonight fits in exactly with what we're trying to do. We successfully managed the Kunta Kinte Festival. We're bigger than that. We want to do all Black. We touch all Black history.
That's what I'm talking about. So, all right. So tonight's guest is a perfect fit, like you said. Then, okay. Well, we're going to be bringing him on in a second here. Want to welcome Darlene Collins. How you doing, DC? Hope all is well with you, dear. All right, Lenny. As Vanessa Turner. Vanessa!
Can't leave out Vanessa. Hold on now.
Vanessa! That's that girl. How you doing, Vanessa? I hope all is As we move forward with tonight's show, we always said we ask you to like and share the show. And Night Brothers Show is a show where your opinion matters. So we welcome your comments and your questions as we move forward with the show tonight. Feel free, you guys, because you're a big part of this show. So I want you guys to give a special welcome to David Stansbury as a new host for the Night Brothers Show. Y'all give David some love.
Absolutely. As we broaden our horizons and
yes, sir,
more people from the community into the show. So I think Arden is having a little technical difficulty, so we'll hopefully he'll be able to reconnect. I think he's on the road, so hopefully he will. But we're gonna keep moving. In the meantime, Q.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Man, I just want to lay in the shade, get in those shade, you know what I mean? And pontificate on life. We vibing under the city lights. Wherever the wind go take us. If it's good, we make it contagious. Said we vibing, laying on black sand beaches, thinking of what life teaches. So glad and fall from the deep end. Said we vibing under the city lights. Wherever the wind go take us. If it's good, we make it contagious. Said we vibing.
Yeah, y'all, we vibing tonight. And every time I hear that song, I can't help but think about Kenny, because that's one of Kenny Adams' favorite songs. But Kenny will be back with us, y'all. I want y'all to think Kenny's left us. Kenny will be back, but Kenny's got some things on the agenda right now, which make it kind of difficult for him to join us. But tonight's vibe, we just got one vibe, y'all. But tonight, all we need is one. Tonight's vibe, Night Brothers Show special guest is Mr. Christopher Parker of Soul Beats Music, Soul Beat One Music. And Chris is doing some really interesting things with Soul Beat One. And rather than me try to explain it to you, we're going to take you straight to the source, and you're going to see what he's doing and why he's doing it and how he's doing it, more important. So I want you guys to give a special welcome to Mr. Chris Parker as he joins the show. Welcome to Chris. Chris, what's going on? Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for having me on the program tonight. I'm really excited to be here. Looking forward to adding something to your program and hopefully, connect with some of your audience and see where we go from there.
Sounds like a plan,
Absolutely,
brother.
Hey, Chris, if you don't mind, I'm gonna tell people a little bit about you so that they can get a feel for who you are, what you do, a little bit about your company. Some of them might know you already from throughout the community, but Chris was born in North Carolina in 1972, raised in Baltimore after his family relocated there, and he worked at his grandfather, Bethlehem Steel. I know y'all remember Bethlehem Steel. Educated in Baltimore Catholic school systems, not city school systems, but the Catholic systems, a little bit different, a little bit tougher, before graduating from Baltimore Polytech Institute in 1990. Then went on to build a 30-plus year career in the mail service industry across both public and private sectors, including time with the Anne Arundel County Public School Systems. As a lifelong learner, developed interest in Black and African history, uncovering knowledge that was never being taught in the schools. Okay, we're going to dive into that. As a father of 3 young men, became interested in and frustrated in how Black history was being presented, which is really, really relevant to today's world, which pushed him into taking action and not just critiquing things. So that led to him creating what's called Soul Beat One Production, a platform that fuses history, Black history, among other things, with AI and music to educate, empower today's youth. Man, outstanding. I love it. I'm loving what I'm reading so far. Inspired by early hip-hop culture, use music as a powerful tool to tell through storytelling and connection, transforming traditional education into something more culturally relevant and engaging. After completing a Google AI basic cert, getting a certificate, began creating AI-driven rap content, bringing history and life lessons of music. Its mission is to make learning something that people can truly connect with while building a global platform along bridges of education, culture, music in a way that reaches communities, schools, and digital audiences everywhere. So,
Thank you very much.
so outstanding, man.
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding, man.
That's me, and that's the mission.
Hey, man, it's a good one at that. So, I want everybody to welcome him. Give Chris a welcome, guys. Everybody out there in the audience, just give Chris a welcome. Say welcome, Chris. And there you go, Margaret. Nick, our number one stunner. The first one to welcome you to the show. Everybody,
Thank
get
you.
Chris a welcome. As we get into this interview, you're gonna find out some of the things he's doing. He's really been doing. So, hey, look at who's welcoming you there, Chris. I think you might know that person.
Yeah, I think I do know her. I think I do know. Thank you very much. Yeah, hello, Lethea.
How you doing, Lethea? Good to see you.
Lethea is a colleague of y'all's or something?
Yes.
Yes. Anne Arundel County Public School System as well. So,
yes, she is.
Hey, Kevin Smith. Kevin, we just got through talking about you, brother. In a good way. In a good way.
So, Chris, the logo is fire, man. That whole, this is your YouTube page. Want to tell a little bit people about your YouTube page, and is it under this name? Is this how they can find you on YouTube?
Yes, that's how you can find me on YouTube. I created the page. The logo was created with AI. I knew what elements I wanted to see in the logo to kind of explain in a visual way what Soul Beat One AI Productions is about. And I think that logo does it very well. And again, that's my YouTube page. And I think at the moment I have at least 27 tracks on the website as of today. And I'm in production for a few more as we speak. So as the ideas come, I create them and I get them up.
Great job, man. Great job. What's up, Danny? Now, welcome to the show. As welcome some other folks who are coming on. So Chris, we're gonna drop a track now. Now, you want to drop a track so we can hear a little bit of what Chris is doing?
Absolutely,
Dave,
absolutely. Chris, we have a track called "Knowledge of Self." Let's listen to that a little bit, and then we talk about it. Okay.
All right.
Now, the audience, check this out. David is a musician. I'm a musician, Chris. So we are here. We're going to critique it now, David.
Okay, well, that's why I'm here, because I need that feedback.
David is a serious musician, though. I just dabble around, man.
And I do less than that, so please be merciful.
Right. Let's check it out, audience. It's called Knowledge of Self. Check it out. Y'all tell us what you think.
Pages torn off the book, put the knowledge on the shelf. If you don't know your past, you can't master your steps. History is armor, that's protection for your health. Yeah. We more than a trend, more than likes and views, more than chains and cars, they entice you to choose. If the mind stay free, they can't tighten the noose. Learn to pass, young king, young queen, that's the proof. Born in the age of the scroll, thumb flicking the screen. Information everywhere, but they missing the meaning. They show you the success, never show you the scars, never show you the thinkers, only glorify stars. But before the flex, before hashtags and fame, there were people who stood tall when the odds weren't the same. When the laws were designed to keep hope in the cage, and the truth wasn't trending, it was written on pages. They told us, wait your turn, they told us, stay in line. But progress never happened without pressure applied. Every right that we got was a fight in disguise. From the ink in the books to the blood that was cried. So when they say it's over, that was back in the day. Tell them systems got memories, they don't fade away. That's why knowing your roots ain't about living in pain. It's about seeing the game so you don't play. They don't teach us the truth, so we gotta teach them. If you don't know your past, you can't master your steps. History is armor, that's protection for your health. Learn to pass, young king, young queen, that's the wealth. They don't teach us the truth, so we gotta teach them. If you don't know your past, you can't master your steps. History is armor, that's protection for your health. Learn to pass, young king, young queen, that's the wealth. Yeah.
Oh man! All right.
That's fire.
They don't teach us the truth. You gotta master it yourself, man.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
That was one of my first couple of tracks to where it summed up the purpose of Soul Beat One and what I'm trying to do. It's really that simple. To knowledge of self. I grew up in an age where rap, gave you a knowledge of self and a self pride and a history. And as we know, that's missing in today's hip hop environment. So I figured, let's try to get some of that back in there.
I like that.
Absolutely. It had a real positive vibe to it, man.
Yes, that was the goal, and the whole goal is, I don't want any cursing in it. I didn't want anything that was derogatory. Everything is based on facts. It's not conjecture or my opinion. I wanted something that, of course, students could listen to, as well as their parents and anybody else that is interested in learning parts of our history that aren't easily and readily available.
You know,
One
guys,
one of
Dave,
the one of
I
the,
didn't know you remember this as well. But that took me back to the old days of hip hop, where there was actually a message in the music, like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. It gave me that kind of vibe because you were really presenting a message there, man. And congratulations on that, brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, remember the
couple
song, The Message?
comments.
David? Remember the song, The Message?
Yes,
Oh yeah. Okay. Margaret
that's
Nick
the
said that
foundation.
was awesome, and it's so true. Your lyrical content, Lisa Slade. Matter of fact, Lisa Slade said nice and educational. I guess you would say education. Lisa just got her master's degree, so she
Oh,
knows a
okay.
little bit about education. Congratulations
Yeah,
to her on
she
that.
definitely understands that. Yeah.
No doubt, she definitely know the education piece of it. Lethea says, if I'm saying her name correct, Lethea says that's fire. And Margaret said Chris was vibing. He vibing. I love it. I love it. A couple other ones. Cheryl said, "Welcome, Chris. The track is triple fire, and if you don't know your past, you can't master your steps." That's
No
kind of what
question.
your lyrical. Is that what your
Yeah.
lyrical content or
Yeah.
the reasoning behind it is what you was doing, Chris?
Yes, yes. I really wanted something just to make people understand that if you don't understand where you came from, you don't understand where you are, and it's almost nearly impossible to know where you're going to go in the future. So everything ties together, and if you don't have a good foundation, no house can stand on a foundation of sand. So,
Oh man,
I'm trying to give them granite. I don't want anything softer.
For
you
sure.
preaching. You preaching. Next track up is called Black Wall Street. Won't you give us a little bit about that before we dive into it?
Okay, Black Wall Street, it came from my knowledge of finding out in 2020, 2021 about what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
And that tragedy, that massacre. And it started me down the road of trying to discover were there other places like Tulsa, Oklahoma. There were places like that in Rosewood, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
in North Carolina, and other states that, before, the time of integration, um, you know, black people had their own communities, everything from banks to doctors to lawyers to
Yes.
merchant, everything was there. And, you know, and situations like what happened in Tulsa, they were snatched from us. And so I wanted to lay the foundation to let people know, yes, Tulsa, Oklahoma was the most well known, but there are others. And the track talks about some of those other locations and how it all ties together in the same message.
Now I know, I shouldn't have to say this, but just in case, because somebody might watch it on the rebroadcast and might not know what the heck happened in Tulsa. So, David or Chris, you want to help them out and just give them a quick burb on what happened in that city back in the day?
David, hey, have at it, sir.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was all about white supremacy. They
Exactly.
saw us. They saw us rising up. Circulating our dollar, and they did not like it. So what did they do? They burnt it down.
The whole
Jealousy.
You know,
city,
And
whole
bombed
city.
it. They dropped.
And
That was
bomb,
one of the first major U.S. cities that had bombs dropped on it.
right?
Wow.
All
You know,
because of
The U.S.
jealousy.
military. So
jealousy and white supremacy, man.
yes,
So we got to build it back up.
Yep.
yes.
So
Let's hit that
so
track,
with
Daddy.
so with that all being the backdrop of what we talked about, check out how he wove this music and this message. All right, y'all, check it out. Here we go.
Yo. This is what I do.
Black Wall Street, where the dream took form. From the ashes of struggle, new wealth was born. Ownership rising, community strong. Building economic power all along. Yeah, from Greenwood's rise to the cities that grew. Black enterprise show what unity could do. Study the history, follow the lead. Ownership, unity, that's the seed. From the dirt of the South to the Oklahoma plains, we built empires without the white man's reigns. In Greenwood District, we flew planes, 6 owners in the sky. Before the 521 made the mothers cry, Tulsa was the blueprint. Brick and mortar suites, every dollar changed hands 19 times in those streets. Group economics flowing strong through the block, turning barbershops and banks into economic stock. Doctors and lawyers, hotels and cafes, movie theaters shining through Greenwood days. A self-contained city where opportunity stood, proof of the power of a thriving black neighborhood. But hatred erupted in the summer of fright, when mobs burned the district in the dead of night. The Tulsa Race Massacre tried to erase the proof, but the story still lives as a lesson of truth. Money circulated through the community many times before leaving the district, strengthen a powerful local economy. Black Wall Street, where the vision was seen. Ownership building an economic dream. Study the lesson every leadership read. Unity and wealth for planting seed. Yeah. Black Wall Street, where the vision was seen. Ownership building the economic dream. Study the lesson every leadership read. Unity and wealth for planting seeds. Yeah. And slide to Jackson Ward, cradle of the game, where Maggie Lena Walker put the bankers all to shame. First woman at the helm, pennies turning to gold. In Richmond, where the story of our capital was told. Banks, insurance, business rising with pride. Community wealth, where ownership is the guide. Showing the nation what a vision could do when the doors of opportunity open for you. Then Durham's Haiti, Parish, Street alive. Black Wall Street energy helping dreams survive. Mutual life, building financial roots, turning enterprise into economic pursuits. Every district proving the lesson was true. Economic freedom comes from what we build and do. Black Wall Street, where the vision was seen. Ownership building an economic dream. Study the lesson every leadership read. Unity and wealth for planting seeds. Yeah. Black Wall Street, where the vision was seen. Ownership building an economic dream.
Wow,
Wow.
that's awesome.
That's powerful. And the first thing I want to say is that, the message of this song is so important, because a lot of our youth won't even be exposed to that. They won't even know about our history. But this is a way of educating them about what took place. And because if you don't remember your past, it says you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
So they have to learn what happened in the past so they won't allow it to happen again. And it really shows what happens in our communities when we pull together as well. And we have to get back to that. David, I know you got a couple comments.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I think that the song, even if they listen to this, they might not know what Black Wall Street is, but it's enough to pique their interest.
Yes.
We are put in this vehicle to say, well, what are they talking about? What is Black Wall Street? Then they can learn about it. The way you packaged it, man. This is awesome.
Thank you.
No
Thank
doubt,
you, David.
no
You
doubt.
hit the nail on the head. That was
Yeah.
my point. I'm trying to spark the interest.
Right.
Yeah.
And and when we teach them, although we may not have a brick and mortar street or area we can call Black Wall Street, we can have a Black Wall Street mindset. And that
Amen.
mindset is circulating the black dollar. Anytime you can use a black business or that sort of thing, that's what we should be doing. That's a Black Wall Street mindset. And we need a lot of work on that.
Yeah.
Amen.
And even what we're doing right now online, we
Yeah.
can have a digital Black Wall Street.
That's right.
It's
And
many ways to build it, Chris. It's many ways to build. Chris, I want to give you some. I want to, as a musician and as somebody that Arden right to the left of me on the screen here, him and I,
Well,
after we played in bands and all of that type of stuff, we got into songwriting. We actually played songs and constructed music and all that. And as a songwriter that knows a little bit about it, I really love a couple elements of the music, the whole production. The harmony. Harmony was nice. First and foremost, I'm a melodic structure guy. And what that means by David's smiling over there, because David know, man, if you don't have no melody, David, huh? Come on, man. They get monotonous real fast, don't it, David? They get monotonous quick.
No song.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Call it noise.
It had melody, Chris. It had melody, baby. I loved it. I loved it. So the structure, the vibe, the lyrics. I like how the lyrics go across the screen. So somebody, on your YouTube page and they see the lyrics, it really could resonate and lock in a lot more. Talk about some of those things for me.
Well, like you said, the melody. I'm not a musician at all. I just have an ear for what I like. So between what I was able to come up with AI wise and what I was able to incorporate certain aspects I wanted to hear, that's how I build the music out. And as far as the video itself, it really has a twofold purpose. Number one, for the channel, it gives you a chance to visualize an image to go with the music, and like you said, the wording to go along with the songs and the raps. But also, I'm building a situation where I want to turn this into a teaching platform to where there is a structured, study guide for teachers and community organizations to be able to use this music in a classroom teaching setting for history. So that
Put
was
it in the
part of the reason
curriculum.
why the subtitles of the songs. So as they're going through the videos and with a lesson plan, there's wording to go along on the screen with what they're learning in the lesson plan and tie it all together for that visual, mental, hands-on experience.
Writing into a curriculum. I love that. All right, were you going to say something? I know you just jumped back on.
No, I was just liking what I heard. You know what I mean? The whole
Thank you.
mindset of a circular economy, which is definitely our blueprint. But definitely like the melody. Like dealing with the melody. I'm sure the beats is popping. I'm sorry I missed it. I'm sure you played something, and I missed the whole part of that. But
No problem.
yeah, I'm gonna definitely check it again.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump on into the full interview, and we're gonna start with who we gonna start with. We're gonna start with you, Arden, since you just jumped on. But go ahead, go take it from there, brother.
All right, check it. Well, when you went from Wilson, North Carolina to Baltimore, what was the transition? What was the transition like? It's a little faster in Baltimore, I would say. But how did it hit different? Is what
Well, I don't know what you're talking about in that aspect about Baltimore, but no, actually, I was.
I'm in Baltimore
as soon as I was
now.
born in North Carolina. My parents moved up here. They followed my grandfather up here. My father got work, and my mother got work. So I was an infant. I'm still tied to North Carolina. Both sides of my family are there. I spent summers there with my grandmother when she was alive, and my cousins and my aunts. So I still have a connection there, but Baltimore's home. So again, Baltimore, West Baltimore specifically, is where I've mainly lived my life in the city.
Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha. So Chris, I always believe in full disclosure, and you and I, we are co-laborers in the same place,
Yes.
Anne Arundel County Public Schools, as was our guest last week, Dr. Bedell. But
okay.
but Chris is the supervisor of the mailroom, and being in the mail service industry over 30 years, I know you've seen some crazy things in your time. But what's some of the wildest stuff you've seen come through the system, and something that might have made you say, "Wow, did somebody really send this through the mail?" I mean, not only I'm talking about in the private sector as well.
You know what? In my time in mail, I can honestly say, from my standpoint, I've never experienced anything, that would be a story really worth telling. But for my last employer, when I worked in Washington D.C., we worked for an NGO, a non-government organization. We had expats mainly based in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they were allowed to have packages, care packages sent from the states to them in that country, and usually during the holidays. So one of the staff ordered all of this stuff online and had it sent to the building. We, put it all together and inventoried everything and shipped it overseas. And come to find out, at some point, it got hung up in customs for some reason. In some of these countries, customs can be pretty corrupt. It's no matter what you might have paid for the shipping when you did it, the local customs can say, well, we still need more money if you want to release this package. So they held it for a while. When they finally got to the employee, all of the items that we had packed and sent that they had paid for and ordered were out of the box, and someone either in customs or in whatever shipping company was local put a bunch of dirty shoes, old dirty shoes in the box and delivered the box to the employees. So I found that to just be
Oh man, that's crazy.
hilarious and sad all in the same breath
At the
because,
same time.
yeah, so I said a box of dirty shoes. So
It's like getting a lump of coal for Christmas or something.
Yeah, worse than that. You paid for
A lump
that.
of coal on somebody.
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing when you're talking about dirty shoes. Lump of coal.
Wow. So, Chris, I want to commend you on your use of technology and pulling this together. And I appreciate your transparency. You're using AI to your advantage, but you're not acting like you the one actually rapping. Some people using AI and they acting like they singing and they ain't saying one note.
No, you won't catch me like that.
So I want to
If you're
ask
doing
you
good, take
your
your line.
experience at Poly, that being a school that often focuses on technology. How did that have any impact on your mindset to want to use AI and that sort of thing?
Well, when I went to Poly, I was there from 1986 to 1990, so we were way before any of the technology we have now. We were still using floppy disks, but my time there, being influenced by the technology of the day, we did have computer science classes, and of course, we had some of the shop classes and things like that, hands-on. I was really into mechanical drawing, which was a course of mine, and even thought about playing around with the architecture as a career for a while until I realized I wasn't that good in math. But so my time there, helped start my thinking as trying to think beyond just the everyday because I had to level up going to Poly.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Well, Chris,
Arden, coming back at you, brother. Let's keep us moving, Arden.
Very good question there, or answer, I should say. Describe yourself as a lifelong learner. Well, you describe yourself as a lifelong learner, and I definitely love that and appreciate that because I feel like that's what we all should be. Uh, what was that, AHA or aha moment, I should say, when you started, your deep dive into, back to Africa or back, Black and African history, and what did you realize? And,
Well, you know what? I really didn't get the bug for African and Black history until late into my 40s. And that was because, you're living life, raising kids, having a career, trying to make ends meet, your head is down. So you really don't have, as much time to pay attention to the world as you should. So as I got older and my sons got older and my responsibilities became a little less in that regard, I started reading more. So as I started, reading books about certain figures in Black history, Malcolm X is one of my personal heroes.
yes.
So understanding what Malcolm did led me down the road to the Medgar Evers and the John Henry Clarks and that like to where I said, well, there's a whole rabbit hole of Black history across the diaspora that I've never been exposed to.
Yes.
So, and I love audiobooks. So I
Yes,
just
me too.
started an Audible account and just finding books on topics that meant something to me as related to our history here and even across the diaspora. And it just sparked my interest. So, moving into this arena is just to me a natural progression of what I've learned and am still learning and trying to share that with the youth and anyone else who finds value in it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
a big piece of that, man. When you said, it's one thing to learn the history here, which we haven't even scratched the surface on. I mean, really, a lot of
Yes.
people still think their ancestors came across in boats. Some people did, but most people been here. And
Exactly.
it's just so much history that's not being shown and hasn't been shown. It's incredible. But then when you start talking about across the diaspora, when you started talk, like that is absolutely amazing. When you start talking about why we got free.
Right.
I mean, worldwide. You can't, Haiti and
Oh, yeah.
Lumumba and all those different movements
Yep.
uh, were interactive. I mean, with us. So I definitely love how connecting the diaspora with these lessons also, because it's important for us to know world history, and we're everywhere in the world.
We have to, and I even some of the tracks I have on my YouTube page. I have one um, about Black Native Americans,
Yes.
Tuscaloosa. I just recently posted a rap about Tuscaloosa, and once I found out about his history, I said, "Wait a minute! I never learned he looked like us. I never
Indeed.
learned what he did." So I had to make a rap about it, and African queens that I had never heard of. And actually I found out through my studies that one of the names that native to the continent called themselves was Al Capulan. It was not
That's the name
Africa.
of
Africa was a
yes,
name that was
yes.
from the Greeks and the Romans to describe how different the continent was from where they came from in Europe. But those that were home there called it Al Capulan for
A couple of
centuries
yes.
before they arrived. So again, didn't know this before.
Sound like you were.
Definitely.
It's the funny thing about when you're creating, you start studying, you start educating yourself too. Sound like that was something
That's
you
it.
experienced, huh?
Yes, yes, and it truly has been. And like I said, I learned something new almost with every rap I come up with because they're based on either books I've read or
Right.
information I've come across that started me down the rabbit hole of finding out more about that person or that topic or that time in history. So again, what I know it can fit on the pin of a head, and what I don't know could probably fill this planet. So I got a lot
Right.
of work to do.
I love it.
We all do, brother. We in the same boat.
There you go. There you go.
Well, look,
Yeah.
Chris, as the father of three sons,
Mhm.
what was the moment that struck you when you said, look, all right, enough of this complaining about the situation. What am I going to do about it? How can I fix this and remedy this situation that our youth are not, particularly our young men, are not being educated on things they didn't even really need to know about?
Yeah. Well, my youngest, I raised him, um, and being involved in some of the issues he was having in school
Hmm.
got me to understand that some of the things that kids are not getting in school. Um, it's when you don't understand who you are, it's hard to go into a place of learning and
Yes.
focus on learning because you don't have a point of reference to where your greatness came from and how great you personally can be. So, seeing some of my youngest son's challenges started me thinking about, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way. And it took me a while to get to this point, but what I couldn't do for my own children, I'm hoping I
Hmm.
can do for others' children. And I have
That's
grandkids
good.
now, and at some
Yeah.
point, I would want them to have some of the knowledge that I'm coming across.
Yeah. You want them to know about the legacy that has been stripped away and in some places just being stolen from our
Yeah,
community. That makes sense.
exactly. But we're
Well,
not
Dave,
going to
just
let it happen. So,
yeah. All right, David, I'll pass it to you, Dave.
And you know what? I can feel that pain because I got two sons myself, who's 9 and 11, and I'm like, how do I get this information to them? You
Mm.
sit and watch YouTube, you know what I mean, to get some of it. I don't know all of it myself. So, you know, your thought of how do I, connect, this is an awesome vehicle. I'm gonna be
Yes,
popping on these songs in the car myself. You know what I mean?
no
That's
doubt.
why I did it that way, so you
Yeah,
could play it around anybody, your kids,
yeah,
your mom, your dad, sister, brother, wife, significant other, what
yeah.
have you. And everybody
Hmm.
can listen and be listening for the message. Yeah, the beats will make your head bop, but once you start getting into the lyrics and the message, you like, okay, so I didn't know this, and then hopefully, like I said, it sparks a
Yeah,
conversation.
for sure, absolutely. Yeah. So, using AI and what's your process? Well, do you research a certain historian or someone who has touched you? Then what's your process when you're putting it together?
You know what? I think I'm so new in it that I don't have a strict process. What I know is, there are certain audiobooks that I have listened to, there are certain articles I've read. So that gave me a foundation. But what I do is I find something that just sparks my interest, a topic. And then from there, I research factual information about that person or topic.
Hmm.
And then I start to, you know, blend it together in the form of a educational, rap that I can, put in front of students ideally to try to, get them interested in something they may have heard by
Hmm.
accident and never paid attention to or haven't heard at all. So, I try to, I'm not being cagey. I don't know what my secret sauce is per se, but it's just
Yeah.
I go with the feel of the material that I'm researching and how I think that can turn into a rap that can provide something larger.
So have you ever put together a song, but you like, nah, that ain't it. I ain't like the feel of that, and you try
Yeah,
something different?
yeah, I've done that, and it's mainly been on the musical side, matching up
Right,
with the lyrics.
right.
I find that by the time I use AI and contribute my little bit to it, that the
Yeah,
lyrics are really on point because they're based on facts.
yeah,
But
Right.
sometimes if I don't get that sound that I'm looking for, and
yeah.
I try to play with the sounds of the rap because I know there's different sounds that are more popular today than there might have been, in my time or in between. So I want to make sure if I catch your ear, I want to catch your attention. So
Right.
that's what I'm trying to that's the mix I'm trying to come up with. And like I said, I play around with things. Some of the Al Capulan based um, raps. I'm using African beats. I'm trying to find beats from certain regions
Yeah.
that can fill in with the story I'm trying to tell or the person from that part of the continent, so it can kind
Hmm.
of tie together.
Right. I can even see people performing these songs, man.
Yeah.
You know.
I can live with that. I can live with that. And like I said,
That-
I'm no rapper,
Right.
so I know my skills. I know my skills are not skills. So
right.
this is my
Well,
way to do it. That's why
this
I want
brother
to
right here, this brother can rap right here. Maybe we need to give Arden some of these tracks.
see,
Yes,
I had
sir.
no problem collaborating on that. So
Yes,
I
sir.
hey,
feel you.
let's see
Definitely.
what we can do. But
Putting
again,
you
I
on the
know
spot,
my strengths, I know
Arden.
my weaknesses.
It's all good. I don't have a problem with the spot or the spot. But yeah, I just like what you're doing for real, man, because it goes down to the knowledge of self. And if you don't know yourself, you know, you lost. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
all around the world, you see information that is not connected to you. But then when you do your research, you find you connected to everything. You dig far enough in any subject matter, you're gonna find us at it.
that's right.
Definitely. But is this me? Just me right here. Speaking of hip hop, if you had to compare Soul Beat One to a classic rap album, which would it be, and why does it, deserve? Well, I know it deserves to go platinum in the classroom and outside the classroom. But who do you connect to? Who would you say that album would be?
Well, I'm going to date myself and go back to 1989 when KRS-One made the classic, ghetto music, the blueprint of hip hop.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I'm definitely biting his style to use a dated term, but
Hey,
that to me was the foundation of what I wanted to do because that album talked about everything from black inventors to just things in our community. Like again, that was where I became exposed to a lot of that stuff for the first time. So
right.
I wanted to recreate that feeling in somebody else today.
Man, that was well, a lot of KRS. Well,
Yeah,
from Criminal Minded all the way through, he was consciously
master
talking about
teacher.
a lot of stuff. But that was it, and
Yeah,
what you're doing right now is continuing on that with that whole mindset of edutainment, you know, entertain
paying
and educate
homage.
at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I
Definitely.
pay homage to
I
the
love it.
greats, and from Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Queen Latifah, Jungle Brothers. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
Slick Rick because he was a storyteller. So I
Hey,
want to take all those aspects.
And look,
yo, and
on.
so
He
I
might
gotta
was
ask
from
you,
Wilson.
what, huh?
I said he might was from Wilson, North Carolina, but he heard all that stuff down there.
Hey man,
Well,
he was
well,
popping
see,
everywhere.
I was just born
He was in
there. I was
Baltimore.
raised here, so all
He
of,
was in
all of that was
Baltimore.
all of that was Baltimore experience.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot. Yo, I was up there breaking, you know what I mean, in the harbor
There
at
you go.
Lexington Market back in the day. Yeah,
There you
man.
go.
Me and Lenny, we rocked Baltimore like the 20 Grand Club, the other I don't
Oh,
even
there you
remember all the
go.
names.
Odell's.
Odell,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We played all of them joints.
There you go.
Straight up.
See. So
But
see,
yeah.
you
So I
already know.
definitely love the vibe, man, for real, for real.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
We need it.
Absolutely. Yep.
We need it.
So Chris, what do you think is the biggest reason kids aren't connecting with their history? You think it's just not being taught? You think it's the delivery? We know everybody kind of learns different. What's your perspective?
I kind of think it's a mixed bag. I think it's definitely what's not being taught.
Yep.
I listened to an audiobook about a couple of years ago about the history of how textbooks have been written in this country. And that opened my eyes to why certain information didn't make its way into textbooks that not only we would read, but those that don't look like us would read because there are powers that be that said, no, this is what American history is. That's not. So I
Mm,
think that's a big part of it.
yeah,
And once you get past the textbooks, I think once you get into today's environment, students are their attention is demanded in so many different areas. You have social media, you have music, you have sports, you have movies, you have video games, you have culture. All of these things, and in a sense, they've always been there. But in some of our generations, you didn't have the electronic part of it that amplified those distractions. And
yeah,
in today's world, they have so many distractions, it's hard for them to pay attention to anything beyond their phone or something else with a screen. So
yeah,
when you get them in a classroom, if you don't find a way to engage them in the material, no matter
yeah,
what it is, and again, I'm not an educator, I'm just speaking as a former student and having sons that were students, you don't have that connection. So
right,
the information could be on point, but if you can't connect with how they learn
yeah,
and what interests them, you'll never make that leap over that gap. So I
yeah,
mean, I think it's just a mixture of things,
yeah.
and and again, just this is my attempt to try to bridge some of that gap in whatever
Well,
way
it's not an
possible.
attempt. It's not an attempt. You doing it.
Yes, sir.
It's how you're packaging it. You know what I mean? I hated peas growing up, but if you put them peas in some potatoes, I never knew I was.
You were gonna eat those peas.
This is
I
what you're
feel
doing
you.
with this history, man. You know,
Gave
you
me a
capturing
samosas.
this
You changed
history
my
in a
life.
Uh,
way.
I feel you.
That's right.
I
So
like
I'm trying
that,
to put those
David. I
peas
like that.
in them potatoes.
Yeah,
I like that, David. I like how
yes,
you
sir.
That's a good analogy.
But
you put
Lenny,
that
before
out
we go
there.
on
Yeah,
to the
Q,
let
next
me
you
ask
up,
you this,
brother.
Chris.
You up?
what he wanted to say.
Real quick question, Chris. Do you
Yes.
think that you didn't like history growing up because where they started your history?
Well,
Because
you
in
know what?
America they start you at the bottom of the barrel, and you
Exactly.
ain't jack, you ain't come up with nothing, you ain't done nothing. I used to fight with philosophy teachers in college, like
Mhm.
my culture wasn't just verbal. We were the first to write, and you was like, well, where'd you get those facts from? And this is a professor. I went back
Right.
years later. She was the head of the philosophy department,
Mm.
and I had no idea that Socrates studied in Kemet actually.
Kebulon.
Yeah, but that in Kemet he studied actually
Right.
in Kemet,
Give me.
which is in
Yep.
Al Kebulon. But the
Yep.
bottom line is, man, is it just when you're feeding people the wrong stuff.
Hmm.
Not to say that didn't happen, but if you feed math and you saying Pythagorean, and you tell people Pythagorean's theorem, but you don't go to the wall and say, well, this has been on the wall for 3,000 years. And more importantly, if you listen to what Pythagorean wrote down, he bragged that he had experience and he studied with Africans with over 3,000 years of higher mathematics.
There
So
you
he
go.
tells you that in his own manuscripts, but they won't tell you that in school.
Right. Well, I just uploaded a rap that dealt with that. So check my page out. There's a
I
rap on
will
there that deals
definitely.
with that very topic because when I found that out, that the Greeks and Romans studied in Alexandria and like you said, Kemet and those
Yes.
areas, then you start to say, well, wait a minute, how can they be considered great philosophers if they even gave credit to learning philosophy from folks in the original land? So,
Something wasn't
Right.
adding up, huh? Something wasn't adding up.
I mean,
I,
one,
I
one
tell
and
you,
one,
I tell
one
you,
and one
you
wasn't
said
coming
a
up
whole
with
lot right
two.
there,
It,
man.
it wasn't coming up with two. I was getting five out of it. Didn't make sense.
Yeah, I
Well,
wasn't
well,
catching it.
well, well, this next question ties directly into that, man. I
Okay.
mean, because Arden just spoke on it, and you spoke on it as well. So, if the lessons aren't really being taught the way they should, and
Mhm.
things are being hidden and taken away and repackaged and everything else,
Mhm.
if you could do something to correct this, if you could go back and remix one history lesson from your own school days and repackage it in a way that really tells the true story, do you have one in mind that you would like to do that with?
Hmm. As it relates to history,
Yeah.
the one thing I would have liked to, the one person I would have liked to have heard about, and I understand why he wasn't taught, was Malcolm X. You
Yes.
always got Martin, but you never got Malcolm, and they
No.
were they were the sword and the shield.
Hmm.
And there's even been folks that have said that they had secret meetings where they pretty much agreed that we can't be seen together, even though
Right.
I may not totally agree with what you're doing, you may not totally agree with what I'm doing, but if they see us coming together as one, they'll really, try to find a way to divide us. So you do what you do, I'm going to do what I do. We'll keep the public, image up that we're moving in different directions. But again, if I would have had a chance to learn about Malcolm when I was younger, to the other side of Martin Luther King, then then you understand there's two stories to be told.
Yes.
Martin Luther King handled the issue his way, and Malcolm and the Nation of Islam saw another path. Now you can disagree with the particulars of how they did it, but the point was they were trying to get to the same destination.
Facts.
And
Yes.
when you don't understand, when that's not told to you, you think that one's good and one's bad, one's right, one's wrong. Sometimes it's not that simple, and especially when you're dealing with history. History is
Yes.
is more finessed. Sometimes you can't just take a hammer to everything.
Exactly.
True.
Gotcha.
Hey, check it. So, I mean, tackling some big issues about history, and I mean, and even also how it's taught. But
Mhm.
have you faced any pushbacks, and what did you feel about it, and how did you respond to it?
Well, since this is so new to me, and this is definitely my first public forum, I haven't had any pushback. But who knows? After the night, I might start getting some, and I'm good with that. And because I believe in what I'm doing, and
Right.
you know, trying to teach a history that hasn't been taught is not anti anybody or anything else. It's pro people that have not been given their proper due. And that's what I'm trying to do. So, and again, I'll take criticism if it's constructive. I don't, I have no ego to offend or deflate. Um, but by the same token, if you're giving me constructive criticism, I can look at what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what I'm saying, and see if there's a need to be made. Now, if you're just barking because you don't like the bowl of dog food I fed to you, then that's on you. I don't know what to do about that. But what I'm doing is what I'm
Hey,
going to do. So I because the mission is greater than me. It's not even about me, to
yes,
be honest. So
gotcha.
I'm not even going to let
And,
it be that. But again, if people come with positive, criticism or constructive criticism, I'm all for it. But I don't do player hating.
no,
I don't
no,
I
do
none
player
of
like I
that.
hating.
like how
And
you
I tell you
said
what, one of our ancestors said, ask him, well, what you doing about it?
That's it. That's it.
Hey,
and
we
I
doing
and I
something.
like how you say it's not about bashing. It's pro whatever your point of view is, and not anti to the next
Anybody
man's
else?
point of view. Right.
That's it.
Q,
You.
help us out.
True.
Well, I know, Chris, I know you want to expand this, and your vision is even global. We've talked about it.
Mhm.
What does success look like for Soul Beat in, in year 5, year 10, looking down the road? Are we talking about taking this into classrooms, um, concerts, or even apps? Or even, it could be a thing where you could collaborate with somebody, and this ends up going out on tour. So tell me
Well,
what your thoughts are in that arena.
well, right now, my biggest goal is to, this is a proof of concept. Sitting here tonight with you gentlemen and your audience and getting the feedback is a proof of concept that I'm moving in the right direction. So, like I stated, when I started this, I also started on a parallel path of creating a teaching program that can be presented to teachers, school boards, organizations, also community organizations, because what I do may not be for some school systems, and I'm fine with that. I want to find community organizations, if not schools, that see the value in what I'm doing. So when they work with young people and they need another tool to connect,
Yes.
I want this to be that tool. So to answer your question, in 5 and 10 year span, that's my ultimate goal. But I'm not against, as you said, a collaboration. If it turns into an app of some manner. Again, as long as I can get with the right people and it doesn't dilute what I'm trying to do, because
Yes.
I'm not going to sell out the purpose for anything else. It's not about the money for me right now. It's about giving something solid and see where it goes.
Yes.
And that's my thing.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, when your students or when young people listen to Soul Beat One,
Mhm.
what one thing do you want them to remember or get out of it? What do you want it to be?
I want you to remember that you are somebody. You've always been somebody.
Mm,
And no matter how
mm.
somebody else tried to define you, whether they looked like you or didn't look like you, you're somebody. So when you can look back in the history of your ancestors and people that you came from genetically, and you can say, wait a minute, they did this, they built pyramids, they built cities, they developed mathematics and sciences that supercomputers today can't figure out how the pyramids got built.
Mm,
So you come from a great lineage. So what you do with that knowledge today is what your tomorrow will look like with it. So that's what I want them to walk away with. Okay, I'm something more than what society says I am. I'm what I say I am based
Yeah.
on the history of my people. And now let me go out here and prove to myself who I am and what I am, and everybody else is just gonna have to jump on board later. Because
Yeah.
because if you try to make everybody happy, you'll make nobody happy, including yourself.
Definitely.
Man.
Wow. Hey, Lenny, could you do me a favor and play just a little bit of that first track again, Knowledge of Self? I don't know if Arden got a chance to hear any of that at all, but just play like a minute of
I
that
did.
so we can and let that audience who may come in late a minute of that.
Pages torn off the book, put the knowledge on the shelf. If you don't know your past, you can't master your stay. History is armor, that's protection for your health. Yeah. Ay. We more than a trend, more than likes and views, more than chains and cars, they entice you to choose. If the mind stay free, they can't tighten the noose. Learn to pass, young king, young queen, that's the proof. Born in the age of the scroll, thumb flicking the screen. Information everywhere, but they missing the meaning. They show you the success, never show you the scars, never show you the thinkers, only glorify stars. But before the flex, before hashtags and fame, there were people who stood tall when the odds weren't the same. When the laws were designed to keep hope in the cage, and the truth wasn't trending, it was written on pages. They told us, wait your turn, they told us, stay in line. But progress never happened without pressure applied. Every right that we got was a fight in disguise. From the ink in the books to the blood that was cried. So when they say it's so, that was back in the day. Tell them systems got memories, they don't fade away. That's why knowing your roots ain't about living in pain. It's about seeing the game so you don't play. They don't teach us the truth, so we gotta teach them. If you don't know your past, you can't master your steps. History is armor, that's protection for your health. Learn to pass, young king, young queen, that's the wealth. They don't teach us the truth.
Boom.
I gotta commend you, brother. I definitely
That's great.
Thank you, gentlemen. I
Absolutely.
definitely appreciate it. I
Big
appreciate the
facts.
love. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. And I mean, just go to my YouTube page. Like I said, I have about 27 tracks up right now, with more coming. And I try to touch on a global sphere of things that affect us as a diaspora and information that I think we need. So please check it out, like, subscribe, share. Let's blow this thing up. I need your help. I need
Absolutely.
your
I
help.
want to thank you. I want to thank you. Thank you for jumping on. I want to thank our audience for just being one of the what we call the best audience on the internet. And shout outs to you for what you're doing, because it's not just
Yes.
you took AI and you just wanted to make some music because you wanted to enjoy it. You took it for that was purpose driven to
Yes.
try to enhance and uplift somebody else besides, even though it might have just came from you doing something for your sons, it could do something for my son. You know what I mean? Everybody's son. So,
There you go.
so
We a village. We are a village.
I'm-
We are a
Let's
village.
start a
I'm
movement.
definitely down with you.
Yes.
Audience, y'all
Thank you, gentlemen.
give them some love, audience. Give them definitely some love. David, closing thoughts on anything, David?
Yes, absolutely, man. We're gonna definitely be featuring you on For the Culture Annapolis page. If anybody goes to that page, we're also a hub for everything our culture. So if you want information on the politics, on what's happening in our community, stuff like this, because you often don't know where to go to find stuff, you can come to the For the Culture page, and we will definitely be featuring Brother Chris Parker.
Thank you all
Absolutely.
very much. I appreciate your time and I
Good.
appreciate the love.
And David, we're going to
Well-
have you and Kevin on to go a little deeper into Florida culture, probably in the next couple of weeks or so. We're going to have Kevin on as well, Kevin Smith.
Sounds good.
And we're gonna delve into that a little deeper. But Chris, man, wonderful thing that you're doing here, man. I'm so proud of what you're doing, man. And it's a move in a positive direction for our youth, which is so needed so badly, man. So badly.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Well,
forward
thank you. Well, I'd like to say a special thank you to Q as my
Yeah.
co-worker. He saw the value in what I was doing, and he pushed for me to be on your program tonight. So again, I give kudos to Q and the rest of you gentlemen as well. You know, you're a great team, and I look forward to supporting your platform going forward as well.
Well, Arden,
Absolutely.
I want you and Chris to hook up if y'all can. Actually, David, you as well. The three of y'all need to hook up and see if we can use some collaboration in some way, shape, or form. Okay?
Sure.
For
All
sure.
right, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Got
Thank you,
plenty of
gentlemen.
ideas.
Yep.
All right.
Yo, appreciate you.
All right, y'all.
Thanks for the service.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us, y'all.
All right, thank you.
Peace.
Jak ja, bo czasu szmas, za swój wiek zwyższam, co to masz, to...